What is going on, everybody? This is your boy King Nappy. I'm here with a quick theory video on a movie that I just watched. I didn't grow up watching a lot of Disney films, so a lot of the films that I'm watching now from Disney's Plus out of the vault category are brand new to me. Well, the film that me and my wife just got through watching from 1963, I believe, is The Sword and the Stone. I like this movie. It is a good movie. The movie is based, I want to say around the Dark Ages. It could be, I could be getting my dates wrong, for maybe like the 4th century into like the 8th century. I could be getting the dates wrong completely, but that's from what I'm recalling. This movie is based off of King Uther. The king of England, and he ended up passing away. And there was no one to take the throne. There was no one to take heir to the throne. He had a son, Wart, or Arthur, but he's referred to as Wart throughout the film. And some kind of way, he wasn't being acknowledged as the heir. I think people knew that he was supposed to be, and was just deterring him away from it and treating him as a lesser vessel. Ward ends up meeting a wizard, Marilyn, and Marilyn is teaching him all sorts of things throughout the film, teaching him different lessons and different levels of education and things like that throughout the film. Marilyn is accompanied by a wise owl named Archimedes. I could be butchering that name, but he's accompanied by this owl, and they both are teaching and kind of grooming and showing Arthur the way and exposing him to new information and education and things like that. Arthur lives, and I guess he's like an orphan, so he lives with Sir Rector and Sir Rector's, I believe, older son, Sir Kay. He lives with them, and these guys, from what I'm understanding, are making a push or a run for the throne. And they have the boy, and they're treating him as a lesser vessel and not acknowledging him as a rightful heir. Later on in the film, the boy, Arthur, runs into another wizard, or I believe in this case more so a witch, and she's real crazy and just like borderline just out of her mind. You can see like a stark difference between Marilyn and her, and like the opposing dynamics of him being a good wizard that's trying to teach and trying to provide education and a new level of understanding, and she more so the same thing but just on a negative side of it. One of the things that, like I said, that caught my attention was King Uther. He ends up dying, and so his son is placed into an orphan situation. Where's his mom? Where's the mother? Why isn't anyone else acknowledge that this boy is his son and should be rightful heir to the kingdom? That was catching my attention a lot. I knew something was weird and odd about the boy when I was noticing just like the difference in hair color from Sir Rector and Sir Kay, and then noticing his hair color, and I'm just like, what's going on here? And even like the accents, I think his accent was quite different from theirs. I don't know if they had more of a Scottish accent, Australian, couldn't really tell for real. But just noticing that the boy just seemed like he didn't belong. There was a part in the movie where Marilyn asked him, about simple things like reading and writing, and the boy didn't know how to read or write. There was no education. I don't know if the education was available and Sir Rector and Kay just was depriving him of it, but if it's around the time frame that I'm thinking, if I'm not incorrect about the time frame, uh, literature and education probably was not really um available openly for, for anyone. I don't think, if it was the dark ages, a lot of literature just wasn't really cracking out like that, and education was just sort of um, wasn't really being in demand as much. Like I said, if I'm not getting my time frames mixed up, so that what led to him growing up and just being a little illiterate, not being able to write or read, and Marilyn was doing his best to teach him that. Throughout the film, I was noticing that Marilyn and Archimedes was taking him and giving him various like lessons throughout the film. They were taking him, and of course they would change him. They would shapeshift into um, different animals. So he had one scene, he was a squirrel and he was traveling on land, and he was talking about gravity and different things. He was teaching him a lot of physics, a lot of law of motion, gravity, things like that. And he was teaching it to him in different environments and different elements. He would take him in one element and put him in another element. One element he was on land, another air, another in the water, another in layer land, air, and sea, and water. And it was just like, that was pretty cool that I was, that he was able to show him those things. He was like basically just showing him like just the fundamentals of life in so many ways. Showed him some aspects of romance, and he was speaking to him, more so on a scale of ambition and like wanting more, because his aspirations was to be a squire for his brother, for Sir Kay. And he was content with that. That was something he was really content with. And the whole time, you're an heir to the kingdom, you're rightfully so belonging to the kingdom. In the beginning, King Uther dies, and it said that a sword was sent, and it was placed inside of a stone, and inscribed on it was, whosoever I'm paraphrasing, whosoever pulleth the sword of this stone is basically worthy to be king of England, born of England. And that was another thing too, it said born of England, so it was almost like kind of hinting that this boy is the heir to the kingdom. And all the men of the city were trying, and I thought it was going to be when I was watching it, I actually thought it was going to be a thing of, because they kept talking about physics and things like that throughout the film, talking about laws of physics and gravity and things like that. And I thought it was going to make a notion like everybody's grabbing a sword and pulling. I thought it was going to be like a simple notion of, with you pulling, it creates tension and keeps it inside the stone. The trick is to, push, or, something weird like that. I kept thinking they were going to do that, since he kept speaking about physics and motion and gravity and like these fundamental laws. And it was pretty cool, man. The fact that Marilyn was able to time travel and gain knowledge of these principles that weren't made until years later, because this particular century was, like I said, I could be getting this wrong, but I want to say it's anywhere between the 4th and the 8th century, but I could be totally off, and it could be like the 15th, the 14th, and I'm just way off. But I thought it was dope that he was able to time travel, and he spoke about helicopters, which was like completely ahead of his time. He spoke about particle acceleration, which I thought was pretty cool. He spoke about, like I said, laws of physics. They were in the water. He was just talking about, buoyancy in the water and like just the physics of that. It was pretty cool. Like the entire time he was under Marilyn's, wing, he was teaching him, in various ways. Sometimes the ways were a little exhausted, but nonetheless, he was teaching him. I thought it was pretty cool that they used an owl, which is, symbolizes wisdom and like this sense of all knowingness and foresight. I thought it was pretty cool that they used him for that. Madam Mim, like, man, Madam Mim, that sound like a curse. That lady was crazy, yo. It was crazy, and it was just showing like the polar opposite and like the opposing dynamics that these two had. And as soon as he came in and she saw what his intentions was and saw that he was looking to do good, she was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna have to destroy you. And I'm just like, what? It was just crazy. Seeing him pull the sword, seeing Ward pull the sword from the stone, which wasn't a stone, it was an anvil. I don't know if it was like maybe some copyright issues that they were dealing with this, or maybe some permissions weren't granted for something, but I don't know. I don't know what they were doing with the anvil instead of using the stone. But noticing that as soon as he touched it, you hear like this little angelic song and you see this light come from above. So it made me wonder that the king himself was fooling around with some magic and was able to cast some sort of a spell for that and place that on himself. But maybe before he died. I was even thinking that maybe the king was actually, because looking at this picture, now that I think about it, looking at this picture, he don't look that far off from this depiction. Got that long little thing going on there with the mustache. Could it be possible that this is the king himself and this is all like a test to get him there? But it could be a bit of a reach. But I definitely believe that the king himself had dabbled in some sorcery and maybe caught flack for it. Maybe it was, I don't know. But I believe he set that spell there for that sword in that stone specifically for his son. And he placed a message on there, to make it seem more vague and open to everybody. But in reality, nobody will be able to touch that stone, to touch that sword and pull out that stone except Ward. That's pretty much it that I got for this theory. I couldn't think of anything else that was really catching my eye. Just noticing just like the constant, the educational references that was being made and the topics that he was talking about, using basic elements, water, earth, and air to teach the boy, and using those animals to place him in each of those elements, teaching him about physics, gravity, and laws of motion and things like that, teaching him about love and romance, on a small scale, and teaching a boy that was, deprived from education. It may have been a thing where the city that he was in, that just education wasn't prioritized at that time. And like I said, I want to say this was around the Dark Ages, so that would, in my head, that would make sense, but I could be off. Like I said, this is just simply a theory. If you guys like the content, like, comment, share, subscribe, comment below what you think. Hey, bro, you way off. Or hey, you might be on point. Hey, your theory stinks. Hey, it doesn't smell too bad. Let me know in the comment section below, man. I want you guys to hit that sub button, man. Let's get the metrics up, man. Let's improve this channel. Let's build this channel. We are growing. It's been a channel that has been able to progress. We have been growing. Things have been looking better. We went from a channel of 260 to now we're tipping at 400. views were at like 1,000, and now we're sitting at 10,000 views for the channel. Looking to tap on 11's window pretty soon, and it's just looking good, man. I just like the progress. I just want to keep it going, man, and we've been able to get there with you guys. Awesome support, so keep doing what you guys been doing. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.